What up, what up, what up? Ladies and gents, boys and girls, you are now tuned in to a brand new video episode, Sportsway with Dre Day podcast. I'm your host with the most, the Hood's ESPN, Crystal Street's very own, Dre Day. What's up, what's up, what's up? Once again, thank y'all for your continued support of the podcast. Keep it going, keep it growing, keep it flowing. If you haven't already, subscribe right there on that right-hand side. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Sportsway with Dre Day Podcast. Hit that notification bell so that way once a video is dropped, you will get a notification. As you come on in and watch this, like, share, tell a friend, all that good stuff. Y'all see the title to this video. Thank you, Coach Pop. For someone who was a Spurs fan, obviously we are in a rebuilding mode right now, but being a Spurs fan, for everybody that knows me, they know how much I feel about Coach Gregg Popovich, and it was just announced a few days ago that he will be stepping down as the Spurs head coach. I think November 2nd of last year, a day after my birthday for that matter, he suffered a stroke, and basically they said that he was out indefinitely. There was no timetable on him coming back, and Mitch Johnson, one of his assistants, basically took over for the remainder of the regular season. Obviously, we had some good moments. Obviously, we had some bad moments. Obviously, we didn't make the playoffs, but I wasn't expecting that much anyway because we're still in the rebuilding phase. But yes, a few days ago, it was announced that he will be stepping down as the Spurs head coach, but he will be transitioning to the front office. So even though he's not going to be on the sidelines, but he's still going to be a part of the Spurs front office. So with that being said, I guess you could basically say that Gregg Popovich has officially retired as an NBA head coach. So with that being said, I mean, it was only right for me to do a video and give him his much deserved flowers. Now, for people that know me, they know how I feel about Coach Pop. I mean, obviously, Phil Jackson has 11 championship rings. A lot of people view him as the GOAT, which, hey, I'm in no objection to people who say Phil Jackson is the GOAT. I mean, to win 11 championships, 3 three-peats, can't knock him for that, right? It's also easy to do that when you got Jordan, Pippen, Shaq, and Kobe at your disposal. But that's neither here nor there. For me, Gregg Popovich is the coach. For this, I don't go off of the ring aspect. I just go off of the totality of it. So even though he's got 6 less rings than Phil Jackson, I still, in my opinion, Gregg Popovich is my GOAT of head coaches in the history of the NBA. 22 straight seasons. The Spurs basically ran shop for basically 20 plus years, starting in 98, if I'm not mistaken. They went to the playoffs for 22 straight years. 22 straight years they had winning seasons and went to the playoffs. In my lifetime, I don't recall no team doing that except the San Antonio Spurs. Countless division titles, countless Western Conference finals. Obviously, they have 5 NBA championships. They won their first one in 99 with the lockout year against the Knicks. If there's 2 hiccups that I can say from the tenure of Coach Pop, I would say that the Spurs never went back-to-back. That's unfortunate because with those teams that they had, it was easy for them to go back-to-back. But when you was dealing with that juggernaut in LA, which was Shaq, Kobe, and again, Phil Jackson, it was very hard to go back-to-back. So I would think like when you think of teams, like great storied franchises, a lot of them go back-to-back. Obviously, the Bulls had 3-peats. The Lakers had a 3-peat. the Celtics had a couple of three-peats. At least the early Celtics. I think the Larry Bird era Celtics, I don't think they ever won back-to-back championships, even though they have 3 in total. But a lot of these storied franchises, whether it's in basketball, baseball, football, a lot of the storied franchises, they went back-to-back. The Spurs won their championships in spurts. They never were able to go back-to-back. But nonetheless, even though they had 5 world championships and never went back-to-back, they're still considered a dynasty. You know, some people go with that whole, when you make it 3 in a row, you automatically become a dynasty. Yes. If you win 3 in a row, you can be considered a dynasty. But just off the longevity alone of the San Antonio Spurs, that's a dynasty. Again, from 98 to 2000 to 2019, the Spurs were making the playoffs. They were making the playoffs. They ushered in, like that tenure with Coach Pop, they ushered in a lot of things. He's mentored, you can make a case that he's mentored 5 Hall of Famers. Obviously, Tim Duncan, because when he wasn't coaching Tim Duncan at the time, but he was in the Spurs front office when they drafted Tim Duncan. David Robinson, even though David Robinson was a Spur before Coach Pop got there, he still mentored him. He had a long tenure with him before David Robinson retired in 2003. Tony Parker drafted him very late in the draft. That was a diamond in the rough. Manu Ginobili, another diamond in the rough. Like, these were 2 late draft picks that nobody really cared for. And look what they did in San Antonio. They became future Hall of Famers, and you can make a case that they are on the Mount Rushmore of Spurs legends, right? So you got Tim Duncan, David Robinson, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, and then hell, you can even throw Kawhi Leonard in there. Remember, he started his tenure with the Spurs, so he mentored Kawhi Leonard as well. A trade that, what was it? I think we had George Hill, and then draft night, we traded him to Indiana and swiped him for Kawhi Leonard, and then Kawhi Leonard a few years later becomes Finals MVP in the 2014 NBA Finals. Now, obviously, the relationship with Coach Pop and Kawhi was complicated, hence to why he wanted to be traded, which still kind of sucks. Because when you think about it, had Kawhi not got traded, who knows where the Spurs would have been. But then you also add into the fact that had he still been with the Spurs, would we have been in position to get Victor Wembanyama a few years ago? Who knows? But then again, like I said, that's 5 future Hall of Famers. You can make a case that it might be 6, depending on what happens with Wemby. But we still early on that. He on year 2, and well wishes to him. He basically sat out after All-Star break. He was diagnosed with a blood clot. I think in his knee or something like that. So well wishes to him on that. But yeah, Coach Pop has done everything that you would think a head coach should do. He's the winningest coach in the history of the NBA. If you count regular season and playoffs, he's won 3 Coach of the Year awards. He's won an Olympic gold medal in Tokyo, right? The man has done it all. He has done it all. He's ushered in a lot of things that we see in basketball today. Like when you think of that corner 3-pointer, his system, his philosophy, usher that in with the likes of Sean Elliott, with the likes of Avery Johnson, with the likes of Bruce Bowen, with the likes of what's homeboy's name? Not Patty, Danny Green. A lot of these guys that played with the Spurs, They were 3-point specialists, especially when it came to that corner three. And the system that Popovich ushered in, where you space the floor and you make the proper basketball plays, you leave that man on the corner open and you give it to them, chances are once they release that shot, it's going in. Once they release that ball, it's going in. So they revolutionized the corner three-pointer. Position versatility. Like, San Antonio put players in positions that you didn't think that they could play, and they knocked it out the park. My primary example is Boris Diaw. I think Boris Diaw was, 6'6", 6'7"? And there was times that Pop had him at power forward. There was times he had him at center. And Boris Diaw was killing shit on that basketball court. He was very instrumental in that 2014 NBA championship with the Spurs. I get that, the big three, Tony Parker, Duncan, Ginobili, and Kawhi get a lot of praise for that 2014 World Championship. But when you think of some of the role players that played on that team, hence Danny Green, what was that? What was the guy's name? Marco Bellinari, the Italian guy. Patty Mills shooting the three. Boris Diaw, like a lot of the role players for the Spurs definitely contribute into them winning that 2014 World Championship. The international drafting, like think about it, when you think of teams that go out their way and constantly draft international players, the Spurs was the one that started that. With the likes of Gregg Popovich, R.C. Buford, who was the general manager, they ushered in that international draft in the players. Hence, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, Victor Wembanyama. They've gone out their way to draft a couple of international players. Now, some of them pan out, some of them don't. But when you think of teams that draft international players, like when you look on the draft board and you see some of these international players, you say to yourself, yeah, the Spurs is going to get that person. Yeah, the Spurs is going to draft that international person. And needless to say, you'll be right. Now, again, I said there was two things that if I can, I'm not going to say criticize Pop for, but hey, it kind of wasn't a good look. In fact, one. It's just one. Because even though he never won back-to-back championships, again, he has 5 of them. He's got 5 championships. So when you think of teams with the most championships in the history of the NBA, the Spurs is the 4th best team. The Celtics have 18. The Lakers have 17. The Bulls have 6. San Antonio got 5. So they're the 4th winningest team in the league when it comes to championships. So you can't go wrong with that. They could have 6. They could be tied with the Bulls if it wasn't for that damn Ray Allen shot in the 2013 finals. But that's neither here nor there. That shit broke my heart. I can't even hold y'all. Like I remember watching that game. They had the yellow tape ready to come out and everything. And yeah, that's enough. Yeah, that's one thing I see. Talking about that. Yeah, there's one thing I got on Coach Pop. There's one thing I got on him that I didn't like, that I had to criticize. Tim Duncan not being in the game for that possession. You take Tim Duncan out the game on that possession. You let Chris Bosh grab that rebound. He finds Ray Allen in the corner, and then bam. Well, in the words of Mike Breen, bang, hits the three-pointer. So from that aspect, yes. Yeah. That's one thing from Gregg Pop. That's one thing for Coach Pop I got an issue with. He's the reason why that the Spurs didn't win that 2013 championship. Now that I think about it, see, it's bringing back memories, and it's memories that I don't want to think about, but it is what it is. But aside from that, the man has been a great coach. The man has been nothing but exceptional. I know some people will criticize him for his dark humor, on the sidelines at the end of games. At the end of games, not even at the end of games, like when they interview the coaches at the start of the second quarter or the start of the fourth quarter, people would, criticize him for his dry humor, his back and forth banters with the late great Craig Sager. I found it humorous. Obviously, when you got to see him outside of coaching, you saw how genuine he was. Like when you hear the stories from certain players, there's a clip going around now. Robert Horry was on All the Smoke with Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson not too long ago. And when he had his tenure with the Spurs, his daughter, was sick. And, Coach Pop basically told him, don't come back until, your daughter is well. Basically, long story short, there was a good diagnosis. He tried to come back to play, and Coach Pop was like, what are you doing here? He was like, your daughter is not out the woods yet. Go back home. Go be with your daughter. Go be with your daughter. Family is everything. So when you think of players that have these great, great stories about Coach Pop, that's another reason on why I say he's the GOAT. Outside of the coaching aspect, just from the human aspect, the way he spoke about social justice, social injustice. Like every time something happened, he was one of the coaches. Him and Steve Kerr, like them two was the two coaches at the forefront, speaking up when things didn't go right in this country. They was the two, literally, like when something went wrong and athletes were speaking up, you knew if two coaches was going to speak up, it was going to be either Gregg Popovich or Steve Kerr. Another thing he's ushered in, his family tree, as far as coaches. So many coaches have been under his tutelage that have gone on to be head coaches. Mike Budenholzer, he had a stint with the Hawks. He won a championship. He won a championship with the Milwaukee Bucks. I forgot what year it was. Was it 2022? I'm trying to think. It was either 2021 or 2022. He won a championship with the Milwaukee Bucks. Brett Brown had a stint with the Philadelphia 76ers. Ime Udoka had a stint with Boston. Obviously, they parted ways for reasons that I'm not going to get into. Do your track record if you know. If you know, you know. Monty Williams. And right now, Becky Hammond, who's won 2 WNBA championships with the Las Vegas Aces. So Coach Pop's family tree, you can say, has been very, very, very successful. Very successful. That's another reason why I view him as the GOAT, because the coaches under his tutelage have gone off to be successful. Some of these coaches that are great coaches, the pupils that were under them, they weren't successful as coaches. They just weren't. Now, Coach Pop, on the other hand, listen, I just gave y'all the names. 2 of his proteges have gone on to win 3 championships. Becky Hammond has 2, and Budenholzer has 1. Aside from the other success that Udoka is currently having right now with Houston, the success that he did have with Boston before he parted ways with them, Brett Brown with the Sixers. Yeah, so, yeah, his family tree is good. His family tree is good. But before I go, again, like I said, if I had one thing to get on him about, aside from that 2013 shit in the finals, I can't do this and not speak about load management. Because what we know of as load management, Coach Pop is the reason that started. He is the reason that started. And I remember it the clearest day. I remember it. The Heat and Spurs were supposed to play on TNT. This was a televised game on national television. I remember this game vividly. And before the game even, in fact, we didn't even find out until the game started that Duncan, Parker, and Ginobili were not playing in that game. They were coming off a back-to-back. I think they had played Orlando the night prior. Popovich put them on a Southwest flight and told them to go back to San Antonio. So that game right there was the birth of load management. So he ushered it in. Now, obviously, these players now was going crazy with the load management, but he was the one that ushered this in, giving players breaks, giving players rest. But then again, you thinking about it, you got to kind of cut him some slack because, again, the players he's doing it with, they're up there in age. They in their 30s, like they in their 30s, damn near close to 40. But again, he still ushered it in nonetheless. So I couldn't do this and not speak on that. I just couldn't. But again, it's unfortunate that he had to step down in this way due to a illness, but it still doesn't take away from what he has done in the NBA. He is definitely one of the greatest coaches in the history of the league. He's definitely on my Mount Rushmore of coaches in the NBA. Where you place him on yours, that's on you. But for me, he's definitely on the Mount Rushmore. He's my GOAT of coaches in the history of the NBA. And we're going to miss you on the sidelines. That's for damn sure. We're going to miss you on the sidelines. But he's still in front office mode with the San Antonio Spurs. So on behalf of myself and fellow Spurs fans, again, thank you, Coach Pop. Thank you, Coach Pop. Can't express it enough. Continue to fully get well. And again, we'll miss you. We'll definitely miss you on that sideline. But thank y'all for the continued support of the podcast. Keep it going, keep it growing, keep it flowing. It is a wrap for this video. Once again, if you haven't already, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button where you see my name, Sportswear with Dre Day Podcast. Hit that subscribe button. Share the video. Leave a comment on the video. Leave a comment. Hit that notification bell so that way once a video is uploaded, you will get a notification letting you know that it's released. Check your boy out. I'm almost at 500. If I can get to 500 by the middle or end of this month, I would gladly appreciate it. Tell a friend to tell a friend, all that good stuff. So again, thank you, Coach Pop. So with that being said, thank you, Coach Pop. Thank you. We're going to do 3 of them. Because you won 5 championships. So that's why I had to do 5 of them. So again, thank y'all for y'all continued support. Keep it going, keep it growing, keep it flowing. In closing, y'all know how this goes. This has been another video of Sportswear with Dre Day Podcast. Birthday shout out to my son Joshua. He turned 21 yesterday. So happy 21st birthday. You are officially an adult now. So don't be asking me for no more money. All love. You know I got you. But catch y'all on the flip side. Y'all be safe out there. God bless. Peace and love. Your boy is out of here. Peace.